Because what's really happening is that you're hiding something out there. And it is gonna send us back to the Stone Age!
Hello again. This is Stephen Hawking with the recap of Week 4 of the Chippewa All-Stars Fantasy League. Let us get started, shall we? First off, holy shit. Tampa Bay won. They won. Over Pittsburgh. I cannot even think of a joke to go with this. Oh wait, yes I can. The final play that Pittsburgh tried to pull off was spectacular. Watching the ball bounce between players was like watching a subpar high school team trying to make it big, getting that awesome play so that ESPN could notice them. Sadly, like most high school students, they are going to drop off into a life of mediocrity and eventually off themselves in some boring fashion. Life is pain, kids. Get used to it or get out of the way, that is my motto. Go all blat blat, my 4-4, make sure all your kids do not grow. Speaking of being gunned down, Pat Tillman, everyone. I am kidding, we are talking about Kirk Cousins. He went from being the golden boy of the NFL to a joke. 4 interceptions, 57% completion rate, and they play the Seahawks next week. Good fucking luck, kid. All you can do now is be like RG3 and get some sort of endorsement deal so that you do not end up concussed, brain damaged, and alone. Or you could just commit a crime and get out of the league like OJ did. That worked out for him, right? The whole thing between the media and the NFL league office is becoming incredibly shady, with a writer being suspended from ESPN for criticizing Roger Goodell. Granted, he had been reprimanded before by being suspended from posting on Twitter, but that is the kind of punishment you give a teenager who is being a petulant as shall. Still, the entire investigation is very, very suspicious. We are only a few days away from another grand revelation, perhaps with footage of Goodell in an elevator or something. I will admit, though, if this somehow ends up being tied to a 9/11 truth conspiracy, I will just nope the fuck right out of the league. Either that or I will grab popcorn. I do not have much going on in my life, to be honest. Finally, the Dolphins and the Raiders played in jolly old England on Sunday, and I am convinced that this is all some part of a giant plan to piss off the world further. Why not send your stars? That Broncos and Seahawks game from last week would have been amazing, the pride of American football, but instead we gave them the equivalent of dumb tourists gawking in front of Big Ben or screaming bloody murder over someone who might look like a member of One Direction. It would be like the Premier League sending over. Shit, I do not know who plays in the Premier League. I assume it is a bunch of men with bad teeth. Now, let me be frank. All but one of the matches this week were straight-up blowouts. It was embarrassing for 3 of us, but despite this some matches came down to the literal wire. We have our winners, ladies and gentlemen. This week it was capitalist pig dogs over I Am Groot. Sue's team over football in the groin. Charlie, are you there? We are all very concerned. Please tell us if you need us to call 911 over Bogus Adventure. And Liberty Prime barely winning over Finkel is Einhorn. Dramatic music here. Today we salute you, Joseph Nelson, with the Oyat Trophy. This is your second week earning this honor, and admittedly we are all impressed with your victory. Your players, your team, I will follow you to the ends of the earth, sir. But before I start to blubber on about those amazing pig dogs, let me focus on Bitch Tits McGee for a moment. You are an embarrassment to us all, and your strategies are weak. It is like you are of some inferior group, constantly belittled by your betters and treated with false promises of equality and good sex. I suppose you should take the next week off and stay in some sort of, I do not know, kitchen. Yeah, that sounds right. Enough blabbering on. Here are the point leaders for the week. Andrew Luck, 29.6 points. Jamal Charles, 28.8 points. Matt Asiata, 28 points. Games, gentlemen, let us hope that you do the same next week. Especially that Asiata fellow. Miss Bitch Tits had a hell of a time with Calvin Johnson this week. While God was throwing just about everything he had at members of the Lions team, from collapsing bridges to torn muscles, he or she or it paid special attention to the man that many fantasy players were relying on. And with 1.5 points on his scorecard for the week, Johnson certainly let everyone down. Especially Bob. Bob has bitch tits. Tristan also had issues with his line, but they were centered around his quarterback position. Both of the men at his helm seem to be having issues, and most likely it is because both Kaepernick and Rodgers have been starring in commercials. You have all seen them. Colin is a whore for Visa or McDonald's or whichever dick he can suck for a quick check, and Aaron is willing to resurrect any Saturday Night Live skit whether or not we want to see it. Any time now we will see him digging up Chris Farley and stuffing him in a van down by the river. Of course, the biggest issue that most everyone faced was with the bye week. Having both the Seahawks and the Broncos off this past week damaged every single team, though in all honesty Terry will latch onto it and use it as an excuse. Bitches, right? Alright, settle around the fire and bring me a chicken. I wish to cut it open and use the entrails to tell the future. HMMMMM. The spleen tells me that Bogus Adventure will lose to Liberty Prime. The liver says that Sue's team shall slap about those disgusting fun bags and that Malman will lose to Charlie Bot 9000, trademark property of IBM, and the Finkel and Einhorn duo will defeat the capitalist pig dogs simply because the lungs appear to be in the shape of a Y. In the NFL, the closest games of the week are the Bengals and Patriots, the Browns and Titans, and the Ravens and Colts. Good luck to you, Ohio. You need these wins, because King James is only going to betray you again. That is all for us here at the Update. Good night, and good games to you.